Today's clip is from a one-on-one strategy call with a freelancer who's looking to start a business and wasn't sure what to offer her customers. We go over the concept of customer discovery and how to do it effectively. Here's the clip.
And I know it kind of sounds a little strange that I keep coming back to if revenue is the biggest problem, because I know a lot of people when they first start out, they think every single business wants more money, every single business wants more customers. But what I'm confident you'll discover in having these conversations is there, even though the revenue is at a point where it makes them stop, and then they have to focus on fundraising and they have to stop, there's probably other areas that they view as more important than revenue, right? So that's why it's really important to be able to approach them with an open mind and really just have a conversation with them and understand, sort of like how I'm doing with you, is really just I think that's a good step one, is contact these people directly, have a conversation if you can over the phone, ideally face to face, and just get to know them, get to understand what keeps them up at night, what are they struggling with, what areas do they really want to improve. Because I've come across quite a few businesses that don't need more customers. Their business is actually horribly inefficient, that more customers just adds more stress and they end up actually losing more money. So I think a great first step, reach out to those businesses and just have conversations with them, build relationships with them. And I think you'll kind of recall from the training, that was kind of the first step that's there, is pick someone you want to help and just have conversations with them. So understanding that it's really communications. Again, it's okay not to like numbers. I mean, everyone's got an area that they're passionate about. Everyone's got an area that they want to focus on. So understanding that you want to kind of focus on communications. When you have those conversations with them, try and identify what communications related challenges that they have, they might have, but don't limit it to just communication related challenges. Yeah, essentially what you want to do is you want to go in with an open mind, and try and just uncover everything that's there. Try and really dive deep. There's an interesting psychological phenomenon that we really teach throughout the 90-day program we have, of how to frequently trigger. You might accidentally stumble onto it. I'm sure in the past you might have stumbled onto it, but it's called a verbal waterfall. And verbal waterfall is when you ask someone, when you establish yourself as someone that's trying to build a relationship with someone, that you're there to actually help, there's a switch in their mind that'll kind of flip, where they will just start sharing. And at some point it gets to the point where they're oversharing and they're giving you certain information. You're going, okay, I didn't want to know that. But all of that is gold, because all of that is allowing you to understand them as a customer on such a deeper level that your competitors or anyone else that wants to service them won't be able to do, right? So what I'd encourage you is keep an eye out for when that happens. I know a few of the students I've worked with have kind of panicked the first time it happens, thinking that that's a bad thing. Like it sometimes feels like the person's just going off on you, but it's absolutely fantastic, because you're able to capture all of the subconscious forces that are at play. You're able to understand, pay close attention to the words they use, pay close attention to the language they use, the tone, the cadence, the frequency. Really just try and understand and go, okay, if I were in this person's shoes, what would cause me to say all of this? And what that'll allow you to do is that'll allow you to identify the deep-rooted problems that are actually keeping them up at night versus the surface level problems. So what I mean by that is, I'm sure maybe you've done this, or even a few friends who have, where you follow up with them and you're like, hey, it's been months, we haven't chatted, how have you been? And the answer is just busy. I've been busy, right? Not like, okay, I'm going to now tell you the intricate details of all the stuff I've been dealing with and everything that's been going on. You just go, okay, that's way too complicated, I'm just going to say busy. And what you'll find is, when you first start to build a relationship with your clients, they'll start to do that. Again, it's a natural human reaction. But as you're there, and as you dive deeper into trying to understand the challenges, and again, in our program we go into techniques that you can use to do that. But as you try and understand, they'll hit this point where they go, okay, I trust her, I'm going to just share this, because rather than me keeping it in, maybe I'll share it and she'll have an opportunity to help me with it, right? And when that's happening, again, pay close attention to what they're saying, because what you'll begin to uncover is, on the surface, this is what they report the problem as. But as you get that verbal waterfall, you're going to be able to capture, this is actually what the problem is. Kind of think of it like an iceberg, right? Where you see the tip over the water, you just give it a little bit of a prod, and all of a sudden you get access to everything that's sitting under the waterline. So I definitely think the first step is doing that. Once you do that, I think it's really about understanding where they want to go with it, like what the challenges are, and then working with them to find a solution that works for them, right? Fundamentally, I think that's a big step that a lot of people miss. A lot of people go into it with the approach of, this is what I'm going to do. I've got a square peg, I'm going to find a square hole to force this service offering in, rather than going, okay, customer, I want to help you. I'm going to drive results. In order to drive results, I need to understand what you need. In order to understand what you need, I need you to tell me what you need. And when you tell me what you need, I need you to work with me to find a solution that works for you. And then do it again for many different customers, right? That's why the key here is have as many discussions as you can. There's a key, and again, we go over this in the program, but there's a few specific thresholds: 25, 50, 100, and 250. When you're first starting out, at those specific thresholds, 25, 50, 100 and 250, what you will notice is your understanding and your comprehension of what your customers need will drastically shift and get more refined. So after you have the first 25 conversations, you begin to really understand and get kind of a vague understanding of, okay, I came into this thinking it's fundraising. Well, yeah, it sort of is fundraising, but there's this other thing that's there. I don't know what it is, but I can sense that it's there. And then after about 50 conversations, it will become really prominent. At about 100, it'll really click into, this is what my offer needs to be. This is how I need to start the conversation. Here's how within the first 15, 30, 90 seconds of a conversation with them, I want to trigger that verbal waterfall and capture all of that information. And then when you have about 250 conversations, that's really where it's really locked in, where this is what you need to offer. This is really the types of customers you want to work with. One of the best tools we recommend to do this, and I know a lot of people shy away from it, is cold calling, because it puts you in direct contact with someone. You're not worried about an email going to a spam box. You're not worried about an instant message going to a message requests folder, or they've got 200 other messages to deal with. In a moment, you're connected one-on-one with someone. You can have a quick conversation, and even from background noise, you can gauge that. I actually had a student last year who was going through our program working with IT companies, and she did a bunch of cold calling. And during one of our sessions, she brought this up. She was like, "Hey, there's this really strange noise I hear. It sounds like probably about 40% of the people I'm calling, it sounds like they're in a hurricane." I'm like, "Okay, I understand. Next time you do that, just ask them where they are." And in doing that, she found out about 40% of the customers she was calling throughout the day were working in a data center. And as a result, the data centers are very loud. When it's very loud, it's very hard for them to take sales calls. So they were losing out on new opportunities, because when a new customer would call, there'd be this loud noise in the background, like a massive fan going off, and the new customer is going like, "Yeah, I'm not talking to that person," right? So she was able to work with them to put in place a marketing strategy for their business, where her team actually fielded the first calls from customers. So I really suggest cold call, because it really gets you to understand. I mean, if you're hearing lots of animals barking in the background, then who knows? Maybe it's a bigger concern for them, because of the stress having those animals barking all day, is to find a way to keep their animals entertained, and they can't do that because they're focused on running the business or generating revenue, and they haven't even thought of tackling that problem. Do you see what I mean?
I hope you found that clip useful. Let me know in the comments below what you find the biggest challenge with doing customer discovery is. Also, if you're a freelancer or business owner who's struggling to get your business to grow predictably, in the description below, you'll find a link for a complimentary one-on-one strategy session with me, where we'll dive deep into what your business needs and put together a step-by-step plan to get you where you need to be. As always, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for new videos, which I release every Wednesday.